Hello to you, the 8th graders and soon to be junior high schoolers. My name is Marија and I'm your English teacher, of course. And we meet again to talk about passive voice, as you can see on the screen. But in this lesson, we are not going to learn anything new. We are just going to revise and practice a lot. So I hope this lesson will be very useful to you. So, at the end of this lesson, you will be able to understand the use of passive voice in English, form affirmative, negative, and interrogative passive constructions in present simple, present perfect, and past simple tense. Distinguish between active and passive constructions and their use to describe present and past actions. So, before you leave primary school, let's practice a little more. First, we are going to revise the use of these three tenses: present simple, present perfect, and past simple. We use present simple for routines and facts, and the words that usually go with present simple actions are all the expressions with the word every, like every year, every day, every week, every Monday, and so on, and frequency adverbs. Always, usually, generally, frequently, often, sometimes, rarely, seldom, never. We said that frequency adverbs go before the verb in the active sentence, but after the verb to be. And since we are talking about passive sentences today, and the verb to be is a part of the passive sentences, they go after the verb to be. Okay, present perfect. We said that present perfect somehow connects present tenses and past tenses, present and past. We use present perfect for actions started in the past but still in progress. And the words which usually go with present perfect in this use are since, for, and so far. We use it for action happened just now or recently. We use present perfect to describe experiences as well, with the words ever and never usually. And finally, we use it to describe action completed in the past, but we don't know when, which is exactly the difference with the past simple use for action completed in the past, but we know when. Okay, expressions which go with past simple are all expressions with last, like last year, last week, and so on. Yesterday, 2 days ago, with the word ago, of course. When we state the exact year, like in 1998, and with some expressions which tell us when the actual action happened, like when I was a child. We also said that when we talk about experiences and use present perfect, if we want to ask more details or tell more details about these experiences, we should do it with past simple. Okay, that's it. What about the use of passive voice? Do you remember? What did we say? We use passive voice when the doer of the action, the performer, the person who does the action, is not important or we don't know who they are. So, for example, this was the example in the last lesson. When we say the window was broken, we actually think that it is not important to say who broke it, or it is unknown to us who broke it. The other use of passive voice is when we want to emphasize precisely the doer. For example, and this was also an example in the last lesson, Hamlet was written by Shakespeare and not some other writer. And to conclude about the use of passive voice, we could say that it really depends on the choice of a speaker, whether they are going to use passive or active voice to address a situation, to describe a situation in the present or in the past. And the fact is that passive is more often used in English than in Serbian, so sometimes we have to be careful when we translate from English into the Serbian. Now let's talk about the form. This is one of the language aspects that is actually the most similar to the maths than anything else, because you have the pattern and you should try to remember it and you should try to follow the rule every time when you use the language in conversation, whether it is written or oral. So passive is formed like this, with the verb to be in the appropriate tense, present simple, present perfect, and past simple, and the past participle. So let's see it in more details. The verb to be in present simple is am, is, or are. The verb to be in past simple is was or were. And in present perfect, it is have or has been. If we want to make a negative sentence, we add not to verb to be. Just be careful in present perfect, we add not after have or has. So we say haven't or hasn't been. Past participle. What is past participle? If the verb is regular, we add ed, and if the verb is irregular, we use its past participle form, commonly known as the third column. So here are some examples, and we're just going to read them. News portals are visited every day, aren't visited every day. When we make a question, we put the verb to be at the beginning of the sentence. Are news portals visited every day? The same goes with past simple. The Starry Night was painted by Van Gogh. The Starry Night wasn't painted by Picasso. Was the Starry Night painted by Van Gogh? And in present perfect, our school has been redecorated recently. Our school hasn't been redecorated recently. And we make question by putting have or has at the beginning. So in this particular case, has our school been redecorated recently? And that's it. How do we make a passive sentence out of an active one? We have this sentence, Peter broke the window, and we said that Peter is the subject and the active one, which means that he is the doer, he is the performer of the action. And we have the action itself, which is broke. We said that this was the past simple tense of the verb break, and the window is the object. So now we take the object of the active sentence and make it the subject of the passive one. So we start with the window. You know that in English, subject always goes before the verb. So this time our subject, the window, must go before the verb. And what about the verb? Now we put the verb to be in past simple. So was, and we use the past participle of the verb break, which is broken. The window was broken. So the window, once again, is the subject of this sentence. And we said that if we want to add a doer, a performer, we do it like this. By Peter. The window was broken by Peter. Which means that Peter is still an active figure here. He does the action, but he's not our subject. Whether because he's not very important in this situation, or maybe because we just want to emphasize him precisely. And also we said that if the active subject is the pronoun or the word like somebody, anybody, we omit it. We don't say by somebody or by him. That's it, as simple as that. So finally, knowing all these things about passive, let's start practicing. You're going to get a couple of sentences, and they are all supposed to be passive, but each of them has one or more mistakes. Let's try to find them. It is counted, scientists, that around 100 inventions made each day. What's the first mistake? It is counted. Who counted? Scientists did. So they are the doer, the performer, and we have to add by before them. It is counted by scientists that around 100 inventions made each day. What about the second part of the sentence? Is it correct? No, it isn't. Something is missing. What is it? each day. And the first part is in present simple, so it's present simple as well. 100 inventions, so we need are made each day. Okay, the second one. Some of these inventions being bought by big companies. Well, it's clear that something is missing right here. What is it? If we have been, then we have to have or has. So some of these inventions have been bought by big companies. What's this? Baby mop sold very successfully last year. Believe it or not, this is an invention. And I must say, an interesting one. So, baby mop sold. Where is the verb to be? We need the verb to be so that the sentence could be passive. Baby mop last year. That's right, was sold. Okay. A man who created a washing machine for cats and dogs has nominated for the Nobel Prize. This man is actually a performer. Does he nominate for the Nobel Prize or he is nominated? Yes, it's a passive sentence and we need the verb to be, but this verb to be is not complete without being. And the last one, all such devices are created people with some craziness. We have the passive and it's okay, are created, but again, people are the performer, so we have to include them with the word by. Yes, that's right. Great. Let's move on. Now you're going to practice making passive sentences of the given active ones. So this picture is clear. They're pyramids and these are the Egyptians. So the active sentence is, the Egyptians built the pyramids of Giza. I will try not to comment too much, but pay attention to the colors. I wrote the performers in blue and I wrote the objects in red to make this exercise easier for you. So you just have to be careful about the tense. Pay attention to the action, the verb. So think about it for a sec. The pyramids of Giza were built by the Egyptians. This is a past simple passive sentence. Okay. The next one. Who is this? Do you know? It's a Beethoven. Yes, and the sentence is, Beethoven composed the 9th Symphony. The 9th Symphony was composed by Beethoven. Okay, the next one. Who is this? Do you know? Is it familiar? Yes, it's Thomas Edison, and his invention is the light bulb, So the sentence is, Edison invented the light bulb. The light bulb was invented by Edison. This one was easy too. Okay, the next one. Do you maybe know who this is? And now, is it more clear? It's Eiffel. Eiffel designed the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower was designed by Eiffel. Okay. Who is this? Is it more clear now? He's pointing to America. This is Columbus, yes. Vespucci didn't discover America, Columbus did. Be careful, this is a negative sentence. America wasn't discovered by Vespucci, but Columbus. Great. Who is this famous painter? Yes, it's Pablo Picasso. Okay, and this is one of his most famous paintings called Guernica or Guernica. So the active sentence is, they have kept Picasso's Guernica in Queen Sofia Museum in Madrid since 1992. It's the present perfect sentence, so Picasso's Guernica has been kept in Queen Sofia Museum in Madrid since 1992. Great. And I'm sure that you all know who this is. Okay, so people in Serbia adore Novak Djokovic. It's the fact. So it's present simple, be careful. Novak Djokovic is adored in Serbia. And that's a fact. Okay. Now, if you like watching cartoons, then you must know who this is. It's Walt Disney. Yes, that's right. Walt Disney drew Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse was drawn by Walt Disney. And this man, it says on his suit, yes, it's Neil Armstrong, and this is the moon. So Armstrong explored the moon. The moon was explored by Armstrong. Great. And I'm sure you know who these men are. It's the Spain football team. So Spain won the World Cup in 2010. The World Cup was won by Spain in 2010. Great. Now, you will see some objects in pictures as well as in words, but you will not get complete active sentences, but you will get only patterns like infinitive verbs or some time expression, and you have to make a complete passive sentence. Now, you have to be careful first about choosing the right tense, and then paying attention to whether it is an affirmative or negative sentence. So let's begin. Do you know what this is? I'm sure that some of you know that this is Machu Picchu, one of the most famous, most fascinating archaeological sites in Peru, and it was built by Inca people. Let's see the parts of the sentence. So think about it. In the 19th century. Okay, let's see. Machu Picchu wasn't discovered in the 19th century, but in 1924. And it's the 20th century. That's right. Okay, great. Next one. We already know what this picture represents. It's the Eiffel Tower. Every year. What does this every year say to you? That it's a present simple passive sentence. The Eiffel Tower is visited by millions of tourists every year. We could say the Eiffel Tower is visited every year by millions of tourists as well. Okay, again, the Eiffel Tower, but you have the word recently, and it should tell you that this is the present perfect tense. The Eiffel Tower hasn't been redecorated recently or has not been redecorated recently. Okay, great. This is the Taj Mahal. So I'm sure that you know that Taj Mahal isn't in China, but Taj Mahal wasn't built in China, but in India. That's right. Okay, what are these? These are beans. So believe it or not, beans are eaten for breakfast in Egypt. Okay. Indian spices. Pay attention to the tens for thousands of years. Oh, this is a mistake. It should say thousands. Indian spices have been used for thousands of years. Indian spices have been used for thousands of years. Okay, the action started in the past and still in progress. The first wall of Great Wall of China. So the first wall of the Great Wall of China. You know that the Great Wall of China has a lot of different parts and they are not built all at the same time. So the first wall of the Great Wall of China was built in the 7th century BC. Hope you know that BC is before Christ, pre-Nove Ere. Okay, this is the Statue of Liberty, and where is it? In the USA. Okay, but the Statue of Liberty wasn't made in the USA, but in France. Okay, so the Statue of Liberty again, but you have since 1933. So the Statue of Liberty has been taken care of by the employees of the National Park Service since 1933. Pasta every day. Pasta is eaten in an Italian family every day. Okay. Why did we use is? Because it's uncountable noun. Okay, great. And the last one, croissants daily. Daily. What does it mean daily? It means every day. Croissants are made in France daily. That's it. Hope you got it right. Now you're going to practice making passive questions. How? You have the picture and you have the answer. So based on the picture and the answer, you have to think of the right question. So let's see about this picture. This is a famous brand. I'm sure you all know what this is, what they are actually. They're iPhones, okay. And be careful, there are 3 of them, so plural iPhones, okay. And you have the answer by Steve Jobs. I'm sure you all know that he is the man who, what? Invented them. Okay, so the verb is invent. What would be our question word? The answer is a person. So the question word must be who. That's right. So pay attention, it's the past simple, the subject is plural, and the question word is who. The question is, who were the first iPhones invented by? Who were the first iPhones invented by? Pay attention that when we want to ask who invented them in a passive sentence, we put who at the beginning and by at the end. I'm sure that a lot of you know which famous site this is. It's Stonehenge, yes, and it's a famous prehistoric monument in England, and it's on the list of the World Heritage Site. It's owned by the Crown and it's managed by the English Heritage. There are a lot of interesting things about this site, and one of them is that it consists of standing stones, circular standing stones, and each stone weighs about 25 tons. And if you want to know more about it, Visit the internet. Okay, so let's go back to our question now. We have the answer about 4,000 years ago. So, I'm sure that you all know what the question word is. Yes, it's when. And what would be the verb? Which verb should we use? We are talking about building it. So the verb is built. And the question word is when. And the question is, when was Stonehenge built? When was Stonehenge built? Great. Okay, so what do we have here? 2 wedding rings. Wedding rings. And wedding rings are used at the weddings. And the weddings happen, well, all the time. So we are talking about present. And you have the word usually to tell you that. Okay. So what do you think our verb is, since we are talking about gold? The verb is make. Yes, that's right. And what is the question word? Of gold. What of? We have to put again what at the beginning and of at the end of the question. So the question would be, what are the wedding rings usually made of? They're usually made of gold. Great. And the last one, you have the map of the United Kingdom, you have the Queen, Elizabeth II, and you have since 1952. That's our answer. So what has Elizabeth II been doing since 1952? The verb is rule. Yes, she rules. She has been ruling. Okay? And the question word, the answer is since 1952. So the question word could be since when or how long. But be careful. The subject is not the Queen Elizabeth II because this is not an active sentence, but our subject is the United Kingdom. Since when has the UK been ruled by Queen Elizabeth II? It has been ruled by Queen Elizabeth II since 1952. Great. And our last exercise for today, you should make questions in passive voice. Let's look at the first one. Okay, so you have the verb in the brackets, and you have to think about the tense, the internet. We know that it was in the past. Okay, so this is past simple question, and we should use was. Who was the internet invented by? Past participle of invent is invented. Who was the internet invented by? And I hope that you know that it was invented by an Englishman called Tim Berners-Lee. Okay, if you don't know, here is a chance to learn something new. Next one. This is another one of, let's call them funny inventions or crazy inventions. It is called the fleece bicycle. You can see it in this picture. And our question should be in which tense? Because we don't know when. Present perfect. Okay, so who has the fleece bicycle in this picture been created for? Who has the fleece bicycle in this picture been created for? And listen to the answer. It has been created for people who love bicycles but hate all the parts that make a bicycle go. Okay, next one. What's this in the picture? It's a shrimp, okay. So, where is the heart of a shrimp found? Where is the heart of a shrimp found? If you didn't know, now we will learn that it is found in its head. Okay? How many Big Macs every year? Every year suggests that it is a present tense. Are eaten every year. How many Big Macs are eaten every year? About 900 million Big Macs. The next one. This is the Oscar, and we have during the Second World War. We know that it was in the past, so we have the Oscars, plural. What were the Oscars made of during the Second World War? They were made of wood. Okay. This is a yo-yo. It's a toy, or we would think so. But listen to this. The word originally should tell us that we are talking about the past. That's something that was in the past and today it isn't. Okay. What was the yo-yo originally used for in the jungles of the Philippines? It was used as a weapon for fight. And the last one, look at the picture. These are heels, women's shoes, and they have little wheels. Hope you can see it well. So you have the word since they were invented. So it must be present perfect. We have shoes, plural, so we must use have been. Who have these shoes been worn by since they were invented? And listen to this. They have been worn by girls learning to walk on high heels. Okay. Before I start saying goodbye, be ready to take photos of the QR codes and URLs for your homework and what there is to say in the end. I really hope that you are able to do all these things I stated in the aims of these couple of lessons. I really hope that I helped, and I hope that you liked the lessons and that they were interesting enough to keep your attention and that you have learned something new. So thank you guys for listening and participating. Take photos, do your homework, and keep practicing. Bye.